to infinity and beyond.
This is me. This is how I win.
Were you rushing or were you dragging? Answer!
You're a wizard, Harry.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
No, I am your father.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back inside the film room. Zach Goins here with Johnny Sobchak for a very special episode for many reasons, but most importantly because the man of the hour, Jake Lawler, is here, the co-founder, original co-host of Inside the Film Room, once again gracing us with his presence for a fantastic episode where we're doing the 2024 movie and TV draft. Jake, it's an honor to have you back inside the film room for such a monumental moment to kick off this new year.
Damn, that's an OG's welcome. Okay.
We got to roll out the red carpet for the co-founder, man.
Prodigal son returns.
How are you? What's been going on?
Good. Hollywood is Hollywooding over here in Los Angeles. So we're in the thick of it. And thankfully I am semi-employed as opposed to unemployed, which is I think how a majority of people were over the past 6 months. So
you're out there on the picket lines, brother.
Oh, come on. You know, going shirtless, going sleeveless, going ready to go, scaring the shit out of the studios. And now we're begging for the job from them. So time is a circle, baby.
We love to hear. Okay. Deep cut there for me, just having finished True Detective season 1 last night.
That's a shallow cut, Zach.
Well, it was a previous deep cut for me having never seen the show, but now that I've seen it, I'm familiar. But let's before we dive too deep, we'll roll out the game plan for the episode. So like I said, it's going to be the 2024 movie and TV draft. If you listened before, throwing it back to the beginning of last year, you know what the drill is. Basically, this is our more fun, more engaging way of doing a 2024 preview rather than just talking about the 50 different shows that we want to watch in the 50 different movies. We're going to have a little fun competition. That's why Jake is here to help spice things up. So Johnny and I are just picking between a wealth of fantastic movies and shows. But that's what's on the schedule. We're obviously going to talk about all the stuff we've been watching because there's some juicy stuff on here. But before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeart, YouTube, anywhere you can find a podcast. And be sure you're subscribed to the newsletter, The Rewind, so you can get everything sent straight to your inbox. But Jake, I know we started with you. Johnny, how are you? My friend, I don't want to neglect you over there.
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm really excited. This is, I think, one of the more fun things we do on the show, at least on a yearly basis. I feel like we should do more of these. We should do some like throwback years. I know we haven't previously, but yeah, I'm excited to get into the show. And of course, having Jake on, I always love to see Jake and hear his thoughts and pick his brain a little bit in terms of what he's looking forward to this year. So I think it should be a good one.
There's a different air in the podcast studio when these sort of things roll around, because it's not just like, oh, hey buddy, how you doing? Like, let's talk about a fun movie. It's like, I will do whatever it takes to get the best draft board here and to make sure that I get all the movies and shows that I want. And then, as we were talking earlier, Jake just kind of does his own thing over there. He's not trying to woo the fans. He's not trying to get any clout on his list. He is just staying true to himself. So Jake, it's going to be a fun one.
Let me tell you something. I'm a lot like Michael Mann's Miami Vice. Okay, when you see it initially, you don't understand it, but as time comes, the real know what it is, and it becomes crystallized in the foundation of cinema. And that's what I try to do around here. You know, you guys are clout chasers, and that's okay. I understand that. Not me though. I can't do it. I can't roll like that, man. I can't do it.
Well, let's look back real quick. I know I sent it in our
let's look back. Let's look back real quick.
Looking back at
I don't know if this last
2023.
one was Miami Vice. This might have been The Keep or something like that. So I have to say.
Okay, mine had some things happen with mine. You see, last year I had Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, no longer Part 1, just Dead Reckoning now apparently. That was, for all, like, at the time of the draft, that was a great pick. It was still a great movie that I enjoyed. I know you guys were a little less impressed there, and then it's obviously kind of the reputation of that dropping Part 1. Like, we're resetting Mission Impossible over there. I had Dune Part 2, got moved out of the year, so that was a major L, big devastation there. Scream 6, it was good. I enjoyed it. That another franchise that is now a shambles though. Creed
Hey, what else is
3.
new?
Creed 3 was in my top 5 of the year. A particular actor who was in shambles. So there's a theme here. And then my wild card was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which was fine. Then TV, Ted Lasso season 3, Shrinking, Succession, Masters of the Air, another one that got bumped, and Mando season 3. So Succession and Shrinking, fantastic. Ted Lasso, I still love it. Got the hoodie on, or the crew neck on, but it was definitely the least of the 3 seasons. But Johnny, I know you had Barbie, which is a massive dub. Also, Knuff sweatshirt on over there. Across the Spider-Verse, man, those are 2 definite
leaders,
definite like top tier. Bo is Afraid. Whatever you say about like mixed feelings about that one, but still good.
Low-key
great
banger.
pick. Oppenheimer. Good
Woo!
lord.
Oh, stop.
Generational.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh, okay.
Barry season 4.
Yes,
Wow.
Sir.
The Bear season 2 with an asterisk by it that you had not even watched The Bear at that point. That was 100% a clout pick. The Last of Us. Invincible season 2. Minus half credit for Invincible season 2 because only half of it came out. True. At the time, Wool, aka Silo, another Apple banger. Like,
yes.
I don't know how at the time of this draft I was arguing that I won because good lord.
Wow.
And then
I think it's safe to say we underestimated some of those at least. So it was maybe not quite overwhelming.
For sure. Yeah, we had no idea that Barbenheimer was on the horizon. Like, we knew they were both going to be big, but nothing of the proportion that it ended up being. And then The Bear just continued to become like what it is. Barry was a fantastic final season. Last of Us popped off. Silo was probably the least expected from that to be really good. Jake, you still had respectable stuff over here. You had Killers of the Flower Moon.
Banger.
You had Ferrari.
Fucking banger.
Vaccine, which may resurface in this draft.
Come out, but
The Killer.
Absolute banger.
Great movie. How Do You Live? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what that is.
It was The Boy and the Heron.
Okay.
Change the name,
which is pretty good and
not a banger in my opinion. The After Party season 2 for TV. I loved the first season. I watched the first episode and didn't continue with season 2, and then the show got canceled. So that's a tough draft pick. I'm a Virgo. You had a close to your heart pick in Ahsoka. You had that
boy. I had to support the gang, dog.
Had to rep. Hello Tomorrow. Another rough one over at Apple, unfortunately. I don't know if that got picked up for a second season. But again, supporting the gang, Billy Crudup, go Heels, family friend of the Lawlers.
Come on.
And then Jin V. So bringing it back with some superheroes, the boys at the end. But respectable.
Not bad.
But based on what you've told us so far, the strategy for this draft is strictly horror, even if it's a comedy category or a blockbuster.
I'm gonna try to fit it in where I can. Look, I'm telling you, there's a few
I got my veto powers ready to go, Jake.
Yeah.
So be careful.
There's a few things that I think I might try to push the subject, but might not make it. So we're gonna figure it out.
Well, that's what we have to look forward to. Just throw it back to 2023. We've got 2024 coming up. But as always, let's talk what's going on in the movie and TV world. What have we been watching lately? I know I had a very thrilling experience over the last week or so watching some TV with good old Rust Cole. What a show. I'd never seen any True Detective before. And then I know that like I had some friends who were talking about it in like anticipation for this new season that just started. And I was like, I knew it was all anthology series, but I wanted to dive in at that first season. And then Johnny specifically was like, definitely watch the first season before this new one because they have the like in the marketing materials, there was like the little symbol logo, whatever, that was potentially resurfacing this season. So binge season 1. What a show. What a masterpiece. It was so good from start to finish. And it's so right up my alley being like serial killer, crime, murder, mystery type fan of like all the David Fincher movies, Mindhunter, all that sort of stuff is like so like just very much my shit. And so this is perfect for me. And Russ Cole is one of the best characters I've ever seen on TV. The relationship between him and Marty, Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey are both lights out. That 4th episode, like they kept like outdoing each other. I think the one that stuck with me the most is the 4th episode because of like the crazy one take sequence when they have the raid on the like motorcycle gang. But man, that has suddenly, you might be seeing True Detective on my draft board later with this new season, just based off of that season alone and the hype of how much I love that. But I don't know if you guys have any thoughts of revisiting that, but oh, it's so good.
I started the first episode was incredible, and I'm such a fan of the first season. Of course, I mean it's a stone cold masterpiece, one of the great artifacts of entertainment of the past 20 years.
Yeah, I just rewatched the first season. Reagan had never seen it, so I wanted to show it to her, and she loves, just like you, Zach, crime, like true crime, murder mystery, serial killer, shows and movies. So I was like, oh my gosh, the fact that she's never, watched it, and we'd been together a few years, but it was last May. We were actually on a trip in the Outer Banks, and the weather was not cooperating. So we were in for quite a bit, and we ended up watching the entire thing. We binged the entire show in that like 1-2 day span, basically. So, and she loved it, obviously. And I hadn't seen it since I watched it originally, which was, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it absolutely holds up and is even better than I remember in a lot of ways. So yeah, I can't believe that I didn't know you had never seen it. I don't know if we talked about it previously or not, but I'm very glad that you finally checked that off your list. And if no one else has seen it or hasn't seen it in years, I think it's worth a rewatch at the very least.
Absolutely. And this is my strategy now, because I know like everybody praises that first season, and then like I don't know, have you watched the other 2 and 3? Anybody? Because
I haven't seen 2, but the Mahershala season is pretty good. And
okay.
he's Titanic in the 3rd. It's shocking. I mean, I guess it's not shocking because he's incredible always, but
right. I know that the 2nd season is Colin Farrell and Rachel McAdams and I don't know who else, but
Vince Vaughn.
So my strategy is, having watched the first season, watch like the first episode, 2nd episode coming out tonight of this 4th season, and then go back and like fill in the gaps with like 2 and 3 as I get around to it. But I wanted to knock out 1 and then be live for this new season. But it's electric, man. But speaking of electricity, on another front, on the movie front, Jake, it's perfect that you're here for this, that I watched Heat for the first time.
Hell, the action is the juice, baby. Come on.
It is. It was juicy. It was another like just like epic. We're talking about duos here with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Then you've got De Niro and Pacino. Like this was great. I know I'd gotten the 4K on like a Best Buy sale back in December for like $7, and I was like, the way the guys talk about this in the group chat, I can't pass up on this opportunity. And then just threw it in last Monday, and it was great. It was great. I think the one thing, I gave it 4.5 out of 5. It wasn't perfect, but the one thing, like I just didn't didn't really get into the Natalie Portman storyline as much, and that was just like whenever that was happening, I'm like, let's get back to the action and the juice, brother.
I saw that recently at the New Beverly for the first time, like in a theater, and
oh man.
Well, you can't. There's not really much to be said about Heat. I mean, whack prophetically and poetically about probably the greatest movie ever made, and it's no secret that Michael Mann's my favorite filmmaker. So
It lived
I'm
up
glad
to the hype.
it's your list.
Absolutely. Johnny, what about you? Anything good on the radar this week?
Well, in terms of what I've been doing recently, it's related to this week, I guess, as well. But before I get to that, I've got some classic cinema in my bag as of late. I watched In a Lonely Place, the Nicholas Ray film from 1950, and I'd never seen that. I hadn't seen any Nicholas. Well, I had seen Rebel Without a Cause, which I liked. Didn't love it as much as Jake does. I know that, but I preferred this more, and I think that Humphrey Bogart, who I've seen in a few different films at this point, usually as the hero, he played such a broken, disturbing character in this. It was so different, and I thought it was just great to see him in that role. It kind of reminded me of like Henry Fonda in Once Upon a Time in the West, where he just plays a complete scumbag when he's usually like been known as like this great leading man. So I thought that was really cool. It's a beautiful movie as well. And then I watched The Setup, the
Yes.
Robert Wise film from 1949, Warner Brothers. It blew my mind, like even better, I think, than what I could have possibly anticipated. I didn't know that much about it, frankly. I knew it was like a boxing movie, like pretty short. And I think that's the best way to watch it, just not knowing too much and just kind of experiencing it like in real time, basically. It's very much, I think, overlooked and underrated in some way, especially compared to like the rest of his filmography. So I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. I would seek it out. And
Time
then
out. Time out.
oh
This is a
boy.
moment of disclosure, like getting this off my chest. Um, when you guys were talking about this in the group chat, I fully 100% thought you were talking about the 2018 Netflix original rom-com Set It Up, starring Glenn Powell and Zoe Deutsch. And I was like, wow, you guys love this movie.
Oh, but it's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not what we were talking about. Let's just put
Robert
it that
Robert
way.
Wise has the ideal directorial career, in my opinion. He makes two landmark pieces of cinema, and then he makes B movies and horror movies and noirs for the rest of his life. And what more can you ask?
And wins a couple Oscars along the way as well. But yeah, no. So well, thank you for admitting that, Zach. I think that's best to get that in the open. But then outside of that, in preparation for this coming week, which I'm very excited about, is I've been revisiting Villeneuve and his filmography. I watched On Sunday. We talked about that on the pod like an episode or two ago. But now with Dune, one night only in theaters this coming week, which I'm like over the moon about, obviously in IMAX. Um, I have been just cranking through them. I watched Enemy, I watched Prisoners, Sicario. Do need to knock out Arrival in 2049, but I just love revisiting his movies. Like they're just, I just reminds me why I love him so much outside of like Dune and these big budget movies that he's been involved in like the last half decade, and just kind of where he's kind of how he's come up. So um, I certainly recommend if you haven't seen his movies. I'm sure a lot of people have if they listen to us, but they're worth a revisit as well because I just think they are that rich. So, but outside of that, I mean, it's been pretty straightforward. I haven't gotten into any TV as of late. True Detective season 4, I am lacking on that front. Watched like the first half or so of the first episode, and we had to stop. But I liked what I saw, but I do need to get more into it. I think to really get latched on, if I will be. I don't. That remains to be seen, I guess. But Jake seems interested, so that bodes well.
I think it's had like a 93. I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't the end all be all, but it seemed to be get good reception from that first premiere episode. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to dive into it. But Jake, anything on your radar that you've been keeping up with?
I so Sundance is obviously happening, and a filmmaker who I've been interested in for a while but hadn't seen any of their work, Jane Schoenbrunn. Their movie premiered at Sundance called "I Saw the TV Glow," which might come up in our conversation, and to pretty rapturous reviews and response, which was cool. So I went back and watched their film "We're All Going to the World's Fair," which kind of popped a little bit a few years ago, and it moved me to tears. I mean, I thought it was a really kind of lovely and very sad and very lonely movie. And I think it might be, in my opinion, the definitive internet movie, in the way in which like it is able to elicit those feelings of closeness, but alienation. And I think like they are a truly tremendous talent, and I'm so excited to see what they did with I Saw the TV Glow. So that's probably the most exciting movie I've seen recently, with the exception of Heat.
Is that first film still on Max, Jake? Because I know it's been on my watch list for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to knock it out.
I have just for news purposes, I have A24 post notifications on, and they are doing I Saw the TV Glow, right? So because I've seen like 8 million tweets come in, like they keep retweeting all sorts of like positive praise and posting about it, and I'm like, okay, this must be something to keep an eye on. But that sounds exciting that you're that excited about the past work to then carry over into this new film. There is a movie that's coming to Hulu that comes, I think it's February 9th, that's premiering at Sundance, called Suncoast, and I got to check out a screener for that. It's Woody Harrelson and Nico Parker from The Last of Us, and but more on that later. But without further ado, if we're all ready, I mean, like let's get the pleasantries out of the way, shall we?
Fuck y'all, come on.
Let's game face on. All right. The 2024 movie and TV draft. For those who have not listened before, this is a combination of our most anticipated movies and shows into one epic 2024 draft. We have 10 categories plus a bonus round. Each person will draft one pick in each category. Once a title has been selected, no one else can select it. You can draft in any order that you want. So if Johnny wants a TV comedy, he can pick that, and then Jake can hop over to an awards film. We don't all have to go from the same category at the same time. The categories are 2 TV comedies, 2 TV dramas, a TV wild card, which can be anything you want, another comedy, another drama, a reality show, docuseries, whatever, 1 blockbuster film, 1 awards film, 1 horror/comedy film, 1 drama film, and 1 wild card film. And the bonus is an actor or actress, just someone that you think is poised to have the best all around 2024. So the draft order, let me share my screen so that we can make sure that this is an honest pick here. We will be going in a snake draft. So whoever picks, like if it's 1, 2, 3, then 3 goes again before we circle back 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, I've got all the names entered in this randomizer. I'm going to click randomize. Names. Johnny, wow. First pick.
Let's go.
Zach number 2, and Jake number 3. Devastation for Mr. Lawler.
Seriously, between you and the web browser. It's pretty interesting.
That was actually a screen recording that I tricked you into thinking.
Fully aware.
All right.
He picks back to back though, so that's not bad.
Yeah, Jake, you'll be loaded up before we even get around to our second pick. So I don't think there's much mystery around this first one, but in case there is, Johnny, if you have any opening remarks before we get into the draft, feel free, but it's all you. Take it away.
Well, I will say last year, as you noted at the beginning of the show, you did get Dune. And I think by default, I think that carries over into my draft this year, right? Right. Well, but the thing is, though, with that draft, from what I remember, I didn't take it. Like when I had the chance to take it is what I remember. And then you ended up taking it. But I could be wrong in that. Either way, you were ruthless in how you decided to just steal that from me. But I'm not making that same mistake this time around. I am definitely taking Dune Part 2 with the first overall pick.
No surprises there.
I don't think anyone is surprised about that. Do you have any
high value pick there?
About Dune, or you're just fucking?
Well, I mean, let me just say this real quick. Everyone knows, as long as I've been doing the show, which is like coming up on 4 years now, probably, I have been obsessed with Villeneuve and sci-fi cinema and Dune, and that's how those things coalesce together. And it's been a long road. We've had a lot of fun articles and interviews, and I wrote the review on the first movie, and it's just kind of wild that we're just about a month away from part two, and just feels like it's been such a long road. So I'm really excited. I know everyone else is. I know you two are. Yeah, it just makes sense. I think it's fitting that this is the first overall pick, obviously.
It would be off brand for this podcast if it were not. That throws a wrench. That was I hadn't really gotten this far in my plan. I have my first choice, second choice, third choice for each category laid out. So I've got plenty to pick from, but I was like, I knew Dune was going to be the first pick, so I didn't really plan for if I didn't have the first pick, which is a horrible strategy to enter in here. But so you went that in Blockbuster, just to confirm,
Yeah,
because that could go
fine.
any number of categories here.
Yeah, let's just slot it in there.
Okay, let's see. I will go drama film, and I'm gonna go Mickey 17.
Ooh,
So
wow.
Bong Joon-ho,
Okay.
Robert Pattinson off the board.
The big one.
I feel connected to this as I have read Mickey 7, the book, or I've read both of the books that have come out so far by Edward Ashton.
You earned it, Zach.
I earned this pick. I'm excited for it. It's a, sci-fi space drama, but it's also, the books at least are pretty comical in the character and the dialogue. So I'm excited to see it. It'll be likely they're adjusting it as needed from the book, but likely seeing Robert Pattinson acting across from himself. The whole premise is there are duplicate copies of this character of Mickey. So this was recently taken off the calendar for, was it April or May, whenever it was supposed
March,
to come out.
Actually.
March, shortly after Dune. And then now it will still be anticipated this year, but just moving a little later. So, all good. Give Dune a little more breathing room, because this is also Warner Brothers. So why put two mega movies in the same month there? But I think that's drama for me. Mickey 17. Jake,
Nicely
the
done.
board is yours. 2 picks here.
I see it. Okay, I don't have a lot of awards ideas, so I'll go with my first pick. I'm going to do challengers in the awards category.
Tough one.
It just fucking looks awesome. I mean, Luca Guadagnino's new movie, written by Justin Kurtzikas, I think his name is. He is married to Celine Song, so take that with the past lives. And the story is, it looks about Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, Mike Faced, a tennis erotic drama, erotic thriller, something in that vein. But it looks great. Zendaya looks like a fucking star. I've loved Mike Faced ever since West Side Story and how he sort of lit up the screen there. I mean, Luca Guadagnino is one of our great auteurs, I think, in the field, and I hope I think it's dated for an April release, which will be very excited. So it was slated to come out last year, got bumped because of the studios unwilling to pay us. So we are finally past that, and now we are to bask in the glow.
It was supposed to premiere at the Venice Film Festival too, so that says something.
I had this in a number of categories as a potential choice, so this is a blow to the board, I feel like, for all of us, probably.
I
respect.
One more. I don't have a lot of blockbusters either. Why not? Gladiator 2. Come on.
Ooh, heyo, that's a good one.
Gladiator 2. See, this was on my list as well, but
hey, you gotta use the Roman numerals, Zach. What's going on
excuse
here?
Excuse me.
Gladiator
I did not have the guts to take this in. I thought about it, but I've not seen the original Gladiator. I've got it.
What?
I've got it right here on Blu-ray. I bought it at the thrift shop for $6. So it was between Gladiator and Heat last Monday when I was watching a movie, and I picked Heat. So Gladiator's gonna be next up. But okay. Jake, didn't mean to steal your thunder. If you have any thoughts behind this pick here.
Gladiator is one of the great films, and the I mean, Ridley Scott, who obviously has had a varied career in terms of his success, but I think his highs are unbelievably undeniable. This is the guy that made Blade Runner, he made Gladiator, he made Alien, he made Black Hawk Down, he made Thelma and Louise, he made The Martian. I will always go to bat for The Counselor, which people hate, but I think is fucking awesome. Cormac McCarthy wrote the script, so I mean, Gladiator is tremendous, and Ridley Scott, I think, has shown everyone that death means nothing, and he will go the Clint Eastwood route and work until his brain turns to mush, and hopefully that never happens. Paul Mescal's in it, Denzel Washington's in it, I believe Barry Keoghan's in it,
Pedro Pascal.
Pascal's in it. Connie Nielsen.
Barry did have to drop out though, unfortunately. So that's the one
who-
downside.
Not
Quinn, the guy from Stranger Things.
Joseph Quinn.
Joseph
Oh, yeah.
Quinn.
really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't think anyone knew that there was going to be a follow-up, but I'm excited to see what they do. And Ridley Scott, obviously when he hits, I think he fucking hits like a Mack truck. So I'm incredibly excited for this. And Denzel Washington in a Ridley movie. I don't think that what's understood doesn't need to be explained. So
Not at all.
Respect. Hey, if only I'd watched this movie a week earlier, maybe I would have had this on my board and would have been devastated to not be able to pick it. But alas, goes to Mr. Lawler. Also, let's just clarify. I know we said we can pick whatever order. Are we all in alignment that bonus actor, actress will be like the final pick? Since it is the bonus category.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Okay, so now back to me. I'm the only one without back-to-back picks, which makes it trickier that I can't just I have to calculate. I have to calculate like what is Johnny gonna take? So what can I afford to pass up here? No, nothing on the TV front so far. All film so far. I think it's gonna continue that way. I think Johnny's gonna go movies. So I feel like I'm safe to leave a TV at least this round.
Hey, assume at your own peril.
So true. So true. I don't have a ton. I'm following your strategy, Jake. I don't have a ton of awards picks either. So what I'm gonna go with is my awards film, which is Blitz from Steve McQueen. Saoirse Ronan and Harris Dickinson. Obviously, we know Saoirse. We just saw Harris Dickinson in The Iron Claw as David. Didn't have as much screen time as some of the other brothers, unfortunately. Just devastation. But great actor. He's also in Murder at the End of the World, which is on Hulu and FX, and I've been watching that. Very talented. But it's World War II drama that's set it's in London during the bombings, the Blitzkrieg. So interested to see that. We know the talent of the actors. Steve McQueen obviously has an iconic resume, so I think this has a potential to be an awards player in Best Picture, in Best Actor, Best Actress. And like I said, I don't have a very deep roster here for the awards category, so I wanted to make sure I could secure that early on. But Johnny, over to you for 2 picks now.
That's a great pick, Zach. I gotta hand it to you. I probably would have done that.
You're the awards expert, so I knew the guy who makes the Oscars predictions for our website. I had to get awards out of the way before I gave you the chance.
You sick man. No, I respect it. My next 2 picks here. I'm gonna stunt a little bit. I'm gonna go horror comedy. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Respect.
Gotta respect that.
Put the ink down. Obviously, I wasn't as big of a fan of The Northman as maybe some other people. I did love The Lighthouse. Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe are just incredible in that movie. It's just such a kind of singular vision there. And then The Witch. I mean, it's like one of my favorite horror films from kind of like right after high school, like early college, when I was kind of really getting into movies. So he's been around the block a while now, but I think Nosferatu is like so perfectly in his lane. And everything we've seen and heard so far, from the cast to the production and the few images we've seen, just seems really exciting. So that's right. Speaking of awards, I mean, I don't anticipate this being an award player really outside of maybe a few categories, but it is coming out around Christmas, like late in the year. So that could be interesting. And then let me go ahead. This is kind of a wild card in respect that I feel like it could go a few different ways, and there's been some kind of controversy or different takes about this movie so far, but I'm confident in it, and so I'm gonna put George Miller's Furiosa in the wild card slot.
That was
as well.
I was struggling between that and Blitz for which one I was gonna pick here. That's
You know,
that's a loss here.
Fury Road, I mean, there's really nothing else to say outside of those two words. And there's just been again a ton of anticipation around this movie. It's one of those movies that visually and sonically, the first film is up there with some of the best of the century. And in recent years, I hold that up there with 2049, Dune, and the like. So I'm expecting. I love the teaser, the trailer we got originally. I think it looks really really good. And the cast again is impressive, and it's just again his vision singular. There's really nothing like a Mad Max movie. I know this is a Furiosa movie technically, but I just think that there's a lot of upside to this particular film. So I think it's a good pick.
Oh, devastation. Now I find myself once again struggling on what category to pick here.
Better start crunching those numbers, Zach.
I'm struggling.
uh,
I have like so many options in different categories here.
yeah,
Like I want like we're getting to the point where it's like we've all done movies, so it's like, do I want to jump and get like top tier TV, or do I want to keep building out my movies before we get into like
yeah.
the struggle
Risky
bus
business.
of movie? Okay, so far I have awards and I have drama on the film side. My top blockbuster pick got taken. Do I go for blockbuster or do I go for wild card?
Gotta stop filibustering, man. Make a decision.
Okay, I was just okay.
Block.
We're just gonna rip the band-aid off. I'm gonna go, knowing that Jake has back-to-back picks on the other side of me. That's the strategy here. And
Horror.
your horror genre. I'm not picking the horror comedy though. I'm going wild card.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Oh man, he's about to
and
rob you blind.
this could be the first potential veto or protest, but Zach Kreger's Weapons.
Oh man, I don't know. That's
No.
very
I mean,
TBD, I feel like.
I think they're shooting in February. I don't. It seems like it's going to be. I would be. I think if it would have to be a December release.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what the post work is, because it's reportedly a 3-hour film. So like I don't.
Yeah. Next.
December sounds like 2024 to me.
It does. It does. Fuck
Oh,
it. Why
man.
not?
Johnny,
I'm
I need a full plurality
The
here,
full
John.
play. My only hesitation is that I just know, Zach, that you did have like multiple things not end up coming out last year. So I'm a
You
little
don't want me to
nervous
end
for
up
you.
like that again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like the upside could be very good because it sounds like a great movie, but
Yeah.
there are other great horror movies coming out this year that could fit into wild card or horror comedy. So from that
Okay,
point
we'll
of view,
set it
I
out.
don't know.
Well, you have a good point. I don't want another graphic with asterisks next to it.
I don't want to
So,
help you too much, but
all right. Well, as long as if I can't have it, nobody can have it. We're ruling it out
that's
for
fair. That's
2024.
fair.
It
So
was top of the list, so I understand.
let's see. I'm gonna go to Blockbuster instead, then get mine. You guys have yours, and we're gonna go Inside Out 2.
Ooh, okay.
Obviously long awaited, not even long awaited, I'll say, because we didn't even know it didn't need to happen. We didn't know it was coming, but based on the first movie being top 2 Pixar, right there with Ratatouille, which I'm biased for. Very excited for this one. If it's anything like the first one, it'll be a home run for Pixar. I'll be excited to see it. Probably have my heart ripped out of my chest at some point, tears streaming down the face, and then we'll go about our day. But Inside Out 2 is my blockbuster pick.
It's a good
Well
one.
played.
Jake, back to back.
2 back to back. All right. Well, I got to do horror.
Do you?
I mean, I have such a long list, and we'll get into honorable mentions, I guess, towards the end about it. Because it seems like it's trying to be a great horror year after a pretty blockbuster year last year. So I'm excited at the possibility of a lot of these movies. But there's only one outside of Weapons that deserves
Lock it in.
choice, and it's Maxine. Come on.
And make sure you put those the big capital X's in this, Zach. Triple X's here.
You got to make all 3 X's fucking triple.
Okay, so it's I was mistaken. I thought it was similar to like the Black Klansman, how only the middle one was capitalized. It's all 3.
It might be. I don't know, honestly.
This is the first ever. Let's have a note that this is the first ever back-to-back draft pick by the same person in consecutive years. Jake picking Maxine in 2023 and 24.
Come on, dog. You got to dance with who brought you. And Ty West is bringing me around for a while. I think he's a tremendous filmmaker, and everything that he's been doing in the Pearl verse or the Maxine verse has been fucking incredible. It's no secret that it's one of my favorite movies ever. Pearl, I thought, was tremendous in such varied and different ways, and everything that I've heard and everything that has been discussed surrounding Maxine, which follows the character from X who has left Texas and moved to Los Angeles to be, I believe, a porn director. I don't know if she's on. She might be behind the camera this time. But it has a knockout ensemble cast, and if it's anything like X, if it's anything like Pearl, I think it's going to be a masterpiece. So I'm incredibly excited for it. Should be coming out in the next few months, I believe. And hell yeah. Oh wait, I have 2 more. I have 1 more. All right, yeah. So Maxine, locked in on horror comedy. I feel like I'm probably gonna wait for my wild card because I got a lot of shit off the wall that no one's gonna pick. So.
You're safe with that one.
I know. I think in drama I'm gonna go The Bike Riders.
Ooh, nice.
Respect.
Jeff
that was on my
Nichols'
list.
biker gang movie with Austin Butler and Tom Hardy, and it had a pretty rapturous premiere at Telluride. People loved it, and then Searchlight for, I think it was originally with Searchlight, and for whatever reason it dropped off their schedule. I think partially because of the strikes. I think partially because of maybe whatever. But thankfully, Focus picked it back up, and it's scheduled, I think, for a spring-summer release. And the trailer looks awesome. I got Austin Butler, I'm sure, will come up towards the bonus actor round of this draft. Tom Hardy is tremendous, and is always doing weird ass things with his voice. And it seems like he's doing weird ass things with his voice. And anytime we get that, I think we're in for something special. So I'm really excited.
That was definitely one that was on a number of categories for mine. So hate to see it go, but respect. Great pick. And I think you're on to something with that Austin Butler kid. That might be a popular answer in the bonus category. But all right, I'm in the middle again here. And I think it's time, fellas. I think it's time to break ground on the TV section. And that's going to be TV drama. First TV drama for me. House of the Dragon Season 2, returning to Westeros. This is a strong name brand to have on your resume, to put it up on the graphic, but it's also a show that I think everybody was pretty enraptured with Season 1, the return to Westeros after down ending to Game of Thrones, but a franchise that people still love and adore, and to see the epic scale of TV that was made, to see that it continue. I'm excited to dive into this story. I've read the book, the Fire and Blood book, so I know exactly where this is headed, and things are going to get pretty intense here, and I'm excited to see it. You know, this season's going to have even more battles, even more dragons, and it's even more war crimes, brother. So sign me up.
I respect it, Zach. I am a little hurt that you did take that pick for your
Good.
first TV pick, especially since my TV knowledge is so limited compared to yours. But I'll get over it. But
I had to get you back for Dune Part 2, brother.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it. And you've read the book. You put in the groundwork. So
But that's 2 books I've read on my
that's
list
2 books.
here.
This man's a freaking bookworm. But okay, I'm knocking it out in terms of movies. I'm wrapping it up. For awards, it's maybe a little unconventional thinking, but if history has proven anything, I think it makes sense. For awards, I'm going with Warner Brothers Joker Folie à Deux. I think it's going to be premiering at Venice, most likely, would be my thought process. We know the first one literally got like 11 Oscar nominations, won 2 Oscars, including Joaquin Phoenix's first. And I think it seems like they're all in on this one. And it has Lady Gaga. She's no, stranger to the awards circuit and the Oscars. And pretty much all the other crew and some new cast members are hopping in there. So I think it's going to be interesting, if nothing else. We'll see if
musical.
A musical, supposedly. We'll see if this pays off for me in terms of actual awards, results. But because sometimes, sequels, they just don't go the same route. Sequels do have a harder time with the Academy in a lot of ways. So it remains to be seen. But I'm crossing my fingers. I did like the first Joker. I'm not someone that's like a big hater on it. I enjoy it for what it is. So we'll see what happens with that one. And then in I'm so like kind of torn about this, but drama. Let me look at my list one more time.
This man's checking his notes.
I'm checking it twice. Let's go with in drama. I'm not even sure if this is technically. I think all of his movies are a drama one way or another. Kinds of Kindness from Yorgo Lanthimos. The Greek Freak is running it back after Poor Things. Poor Things pretty much his biggest awards play yet, after The Favorite, which was his film prior to this one. So we'll see. It could be on a little bit of a run here in terms of being awards friendly. I would say his previous films were very much not in that vein, but this movie seems like it's going to be a little bit weirder somehow than Poor Things. It sounds like an anthology film. It was originally titled and then they've retitled it. So I'm sure this will be a little bit more SEO friendly, hopefully for the marketing team. But I'm just optimistic. The cast is amazing. Emma Stone is back, of course, and she's on an incredible run right now. You have Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley, Hunter Schafer. So I think there's just a really good group, and there's no reason to doubt Yorgo at this point. So feeling pretty good about that. I imagine maybe this one could be one that goes to Cannes, or maybe also could show up at Venice, like Poor Things did.
Respect.
Yeah. Is it me?
All right, it's me. Back to me in the middle here. Johnny.
Hey,
Johnny
try to
did
pull
it
a fast one.
My
back to
bad, my
back.
bad, my bad.
Let me get my one pick in here, and I'm gonna continue staking my ground out over here in the TV world.
Ooh.
Johnny in shambles with his limited TV knowledge, I guess. We're going by Emmy's Television Academy standards over here in classifying The Bear season 3 as a comedy. So
Hey, you better hope that comes out this year, Zach.
my brother, it's coming out this year.
They ain't even rolled cameras yet.
It's coming out this year. I have faith.
Godspeed.
I
won't challenge it, but Godspeed.
I have faith, and Jeremy Allen White, cousin, all the crew over there, IO. It's on a just a collision, not even a collision course. It blew everybody else out of the way. Finally winning Emmys for season 1. It's going to do the same in September for season 2. and season 3 will be right on track to continue carrying that on. Maybe it's a final season. Maybe we're getting 7 seasons, according to that one Twitter user. Who knows? But I think season 3 will be right up there as we.
I have to comment real quick. I think it's so funny that can anyone tell me what the cousin's name is in the show?
Richie.
Richie. Okay. But everyone, anytime they talk about this character on Twitter or whatever, it's just cousin. Like it reminds me of Game of Thrones days when Daenerys was just Khaleesi to everyone. I get a kick out of that. But I think that's a great pick, Zach. Obviously, we both love the first 2 seasons. I do hope, fingers crossed, I'm for your sake and mine, that it does come out this year, because definitely one of my more anticipated seasons of really any show that's ongoing right now.
Love to see it. Another one taking Johnny down a notch, brother. But over to you, Jake. Back-to-back picks.
All right, I think I gotta wrap up the movies, and then I'm gonna venture into the TV space. And I think in mild card, I'm gonna do I Saw the TV Glow. Jane Schoenbrun's follow-up, as we talked about, to We're All Going to the World's Fair. The logline reads, 2 teenage outcasts bond over their shared love of a scary television show, but the boundary between TV and reality begins to blur after it is mysteriously canceled. It seems like everything in their oeuvre, Schoenbrun's oeuvre, as far as what I saw from We're All Going to the World's Fair, and again, it received pretty euphoric reception out of Sundance, which is really great. It comes to us from A24, and Justice Smith, Helena Howard, Daniel Deadweiler, and Phoebe Bridgers is also apparently in this movie in some capacity, which was very exciting. But yeah, I'm incredible after after We're All Going to the World's Fair. I am really excited for this, and so going to TV. I have limited TV comedy knowledge, so I'm going to go with someone something that recently popped up. Actually, I'm going to go with the Vince Staples Show that's coming out on Netflix. It comes to us from Ian Edelman and Maurice Williams, who are, I think, more, they did Intergalactic, the Kid Cudi animated drama, rom drama from 2022. And I don't know anything about this at all, except Vince Staples is fucking hilarious. And they released a trailer recently and looks funny as shit. So I'm excited.
Respect. I think now, for those of you following along at home, Jake and Johnny are done with their movie selections. I have 2 movies left, which means no rush for me. I can pick whatever I want there towards the end. So I'm going to continue on with TV. And this one Johnny might come through the camera after I pick this one. But I'm going with The Penguin for my TV drama number 2.
A good one.
It's the first of the DC universe. I guess, I don't know, is Peacemaker considered in the universe or no? Is it just only stuff moving forward?
Peacemaker and all that James Gunn stuff is DCU, but the Penguin is the Reeves.
Matt Reeves, sorry.
Yeah.
But continuing from the Batman onto HBO Max, onto Max with this series exploring the Penguin character, Colin Farrell, and just building out the world in between Batman and Batman 2. I'm excited to see more of Gotham, see how it looks in a TV setting, because we know this is basically going to be like a extended film. They're not pulling anything back there, but that doesn't have a date for 2024, but is confirmed to be in 2024 by Max. So we'll see when it comes along. Wouldn't mind a little Halloween there to tie into the Batman, the first film, and that time frame, if it's going to be continuing in the wake of that movie. So we'll see. But Johnny, I know it's over to you now for back-to-back picks as we finally dive into television.
Bruh, I have a lot of mixed feelings right now. TV.
Fucking short circuit.
There's a lot.
Steam coming out of his ears.
It's the price you pay for getting the
Bro.
Dune Part 2 and the fandom. Like, honestly, you could pick nothing. You could pick Outer Banks season 17 for TV, and you would still have the Dune Hive have your back as far as voting is concerned on this draft.
Oh man, I'm so torn. Like, okay, all right, here we go. I'm just gonna be decisive. Okay. Okay, so we're going with drama, TV drama one. I'm going with The Sympathizer.
God damn it. Fuck it.
um pretty low key, low profile at the moment, at least, but we do know that this is coming out from HBO/Max this year. And it is off the heels of Oppenheimer. This is going to be Robert Downey Jr.'s next big project, and really next big prestige project potentially, because it does come from Park Chan-wook, who's involved with the production, and it also is based on I believe it's like a Pulitzer Prize winning novel, and it's rooted in the Vietnam War. And Downey plays, I'm not sure how many characters, but like at least a few, anywhere from 4 to maybe a dozen or something. So I think it's gonna be very interesting for him. I think this is definitely a big, awards contender in terms of performance, writing, direction. And Max is I think a great, probably the best platform for this type of show. So I'm excited
Max
for it.
and A24 producing together.
Yeah, hey, that's heat. So I'm really optimistic about this one, and I hope people will give it a chance. It's not based on some big IP or something like that, but I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to have a lot of juice, hopefully this year, in the wake of winning his first Oscar. So I'm excited for that one. And then in terms of my next pick, okay. Let me go with this one. Feels like it could kind of go one of two ways, but I got to stick with my brand. I feel like at this point, you already got the Penguin from me, but you're not taking Dune Prophecy from me. So we'll go ahead and pencil that one into TV drama 2.
Do we know, is that confirmed for
That was at the investor meeting.
Okay.
Late last year. It's supposedly it was on there right next to the Penguin in like fall, winter.
So you said if you get the Penguin, I get Dune.
Yeah, so this show has been through the ringer in terms of writing, directing, production, cast. That doesn't bode well necessarily, but I think it's gonna be very interesting to see what the world of Dune that has been created by Villeneuve on the big screen, what that's gonna look like in a series setting on the small screen.
This is Sisterhood now. It's been rebranded.
It's been
this,
retitled,
right?
yeah. So for a long time, for a few years, since the first movie came out, it was known as Dune: The Sisterhood. That was its original name. Then when it lost its showrunner, some directors, some casts, it has been reworked into being called Dune Prophecy. But there is a considerable amount of the original cast that is still involved. And a lot of people, I think, in the crew and kind of behind the scenes. I don't think Villeneuve is necessarily as involved as maybe he was going to be originally. I'm hoping that's just because he's so busy with the movie side of things. He was always going to be just an executive producer anyway. But I know when they originally announced that they were doing a Dune show, he was going to direct like at least the pilot or something. But fingers crossed. I mean, how awesome would it be to have a great Dune TV show? I mean, I think that we would all love to see that. But I am also kind of bracing myself for the fact that this may not be like the greatest show that we could get from this concept. But I'm optimistic. I'm crossing my fingers, and I think it could be a worthwhile visually, I guess, maybe, if nothing else. And Max and HBO, I mean, it is their production, and they usually have a decent track record, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
I'm curious what just like the overall, like obviously Denny has set the bar so high with Dune and with the upcoming part 2 that like, should this show flop or not necessarily flop, but like not be great, like it's hard to like meet that bar. So
Yeah.
I'm curious like what that does for like the overall like sentiment towards Dune of people that like aren't as in depth with it as like you or I or Jake, of being like, knowing this isn't Denny, this is somebody else, like it's still the same world, it's a prequel, whatever. Like if they're like, oh wow, this is another Dune thing and this isn't good, like, because they've done so much work to like make this epic like nerdy sci-fi that was like from decades ago to now being like something that people love, that's like key in pop culture.
Yeah, I think last thing on that is to your point, which is a very valid point. I think it's good that Dune Part 2 is coming out plenty of time before the show comes out because it gets to be like its own thing, have its own success. And then the show will kind of be seen as like its own thing as well. If it's great, then oh great, that just boosts like Dune's profile overall. If it's kind of more middling or not so great, then it's you kind of write it off as like, it's not the same characters, not the same actors.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of I think the benefit is that it's isolated, as you mentioned, like a prequel, kind of doing its own story. So,
and one thing we know though is that it won't be no, Easter eggs of like, oh my God, that's the thing that Paul Atreides had in the second movie, like popping up in the corner. Like,
yeah,
there's not going to be any like Mando / Ahsoka crossover or
no, I
MCU
don't think
Easter
so.
eggs. That it'll just be straight up its own thing. So I'm still excited for this one. I didn't realize that it was going to be on the calendar this year, but I'm glad I didn't because it would have hurt me too. I think it would have been too far if I had taken this one from you too. But all right, so you've got 2 TV on the board. I've got TV comedy and TV wild card left. I'm gonna pick TV comedy. This is one. There are flashier picks that could be made in this category, but I'm going true to my heart here with Hacks season 3.
Yeah.
Another Max is just dominating over here between Hacks, House of the Dragon, Penguin, Sympathizer, and Dune Prophecy. It's the place to be. Or what's their motto?
Their slogan?
The one to stream.
The
or
one to
whatever.
watch.
The one to watch. There you go. It is in fact the one to watch. Hacks season 3. I didn't realize they were even going to do it. This has been a show that's like so amazing as a comedy. Hannah Einbinder and Gene Smart, and it kind of just keeps like by the fandom alone getting renewed for a second season and now a third season, because it's like so good and so well written, but it doesn't necessarily have like the Bear numbers or Abbott Elementary or Ted Lasso sort of passion for it, but it's so smart, so good, and I'm excited to continue on with this show and these characters. So Hacks season 3 in TV comedy for me.
Axe Banks. The finale made me cry. The season 2 one.
Oh, so good.
When she found out she sold up, I was like, yeah, no, I'm excited.
Gotta get caught up.
Okay, I have 2. I'm gonna round out my comedy and then go to drama. So I think in comedy,
okay, I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue. Ignore me.
Don't worry, I'll fuck off. Don't worry about that. In comedy, I'll go Mr. and Miss Smith.
Ooh,
or Mr.
okay.
Smith from comes to us from Francesca.
Hater, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Hater alert. Hater alert.
No, the movie? Yeah, the movie. Yeah, no, dog. I don't know what kind of like fucking like
I was in the trenches. I was in the trenches in 2005 for
Bro,
Mr.
there's
and
like some
Mrs.
sort of like
Smith.
it's like some sort of like mass propaganda wave going on about how Mr. and Mrs. is like the pinnacle of American movie making, that like everyone is getting so up in arms about the prospect of them making a TV show. But the internet is a fake place where people aren't real, so I don't give a fuck about them. Donald Glover made Atlanta, which fucking bangs. It comes to us from Francesca Sloan, who also wrote on Atlanta. I mean, he's obviously a very eccentric persona with maybe not like the greatest interview tactics, but I mean, Atlanta is, it's possibly like the best show of the 21st century. I mean, there's a real argument for that. I thought the trailer looks pretty good. The stunt casting, the guests casting list is fucking off the charts. So I mean,
Alexander Skarsgård, Isa Gonzalez, Sarah Paulson, Sharon Horgan, Ron Perlman, Billy Campbell, Ursula Cabrero, Paul Dano, John Turturro, Michaela Coel, Parker Posey. Like,
wow.
I mean, dog, like for that, and also
Maya Erskine's hilarious too in 10-15.
And she's the voice of she's the lead in Blue Eye Samurai, which is an incredible show. So I'm excited to see her in a dramatic comedic role in this alongside Donald Glover, who is still endlessly charismatic on screen. So I gotta roll with that.
Without saying anything further, I have watched the first episode of this. It's still under embargo, but I'm excited to continue watching this. We'll leave it at that.
You heard it here. Yo, credit, revoke his credentials.
No, that's nothing, brother. I'm excited to keep checking out these screeners.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, he's excited for the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. In TV drama, my main one, I don't think anyone's going to pick, so I can leave that. So I think in the next one, I'm going to go with Fallout.
Ooh, nice.
The long-awaited, long gestating, finally revealed to us in a trailer a few months ago, comes to us from Geneva Robertson Dworet and Graham Wagner, and it is a Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan production. Obviously, our most famous for Westworld, and comes to us from their deal from Amazon. And yeah, I mean, Fallout's one of my favorite game series of all time. I played New Vegas and Fallout 3 pretty endlessly for quite some time. So the fact that we're actually getting something, let alone something that looks as good as this, it looks mind blowing. I mean, the effects look great, the sets look great, everything about it seems really exciting. And it seems like Amazon's pretty bullish on it, which I think bodes well for its numbers and hopefully for its success. And with a cast like Ella Purnell, who is sensational in Yellow Jackets, Kyle MacLachlan, Walton Goggins, I kind of hard to bet against it. So I got to lock in on it.
That's a great pick.
That was we talked about that back when the trailer dropped. I've never played the games. Johnny has, so he was the expert shedding light on it. But definitely, just on the trailer alone, without even the context of the games, that looks like a good one that I'm excited to check out.
With all the movies that are on this, not movies, rather shows that are on the board right now that have trailers or have shown footage. Honestly, I think that is the one that looks the most exciting to me, or the most interesting. As someone who played, Fallout 4 and has a little bit more familiarity with it. Yeah, great pick.
All right, I have TV wildcard remaining. So gonna snag something up before I move back to the movie side. And there's a lot of choices on the board here still. Okay, I'm between two. One's a comedy, one's a drama. I'm gonna go. Johnny, you picked both your dramas, so I can't. If I were to take another drama, I can't take it from you and hurt you more.
You're just trying to dog walk him the whole time.
I've been living under his reign of terror from the 2023 draft for a whole year.
Hey, prepare for another year, my guy.
I'm gonna go. This is kind of a risk, I guess, but it's you gotta take some risks. But I'm gonna go it's a wild card. That's exactly what you need here in a wild card. I'm gonna go 3 Body Problem.
Ooh, nice.
No one's mentioned it yet. It is the follow-up for David Benioff and DB Weiss, the co-creator.
This man hasn't even read the books. Okay, people. He's not a true fan. I've read the books.
You've read the books, but what about? I've been putting in the work over here for House of the Dragon and for Mickey 17. So give me a break. But it's the follow-up from the co-creators of Game of Thrones, their first work since ending season 8. The good news, as Johnny just mentioned, is that they are books to be adapted, which is what we know that Benioff and Weiss do best. Seasons 1 through 6, for example, of Game of Thrones, and then getting off script is where things started to go downhill. But it's a sci-fi show. You've got some of the cast from Thrones is in here. Liam Cunningham, Sir Davos, is coming back. We've got what's his name? Sam Tarley. He's in there as well. King. John Bradley is the actor, and then Benedict Wong is in here, Isaac Gonzalez. So I'm excited for it. I've heard the books seem like very, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny. The books seem dense and difficult, and so
They're unlike anything I've
that's
ever
been
read.
that's been a concern, not a concern, but like people really want to see like how that is adapted to screen and make sure it's done well, nothing's left out, but it's also done in a way that is like comprehensible for a mass public audience if they want this to become, you know, a Game of Thrones level success. But this comes out in March, and it'll be interesting to see. This is Netflix, so I imagine it's going to be like a drop it all at once sort of thing, rather than, you know, Thrones weekly binge. So we'll see how that affects the reception of this. But that rounds out my TV crew here.
It's a good pick. That was definitely one of my wild card options for sure. I'm still like kind of torn about how that looks so far. I think the more recent trailer that's come out is much better than what they were showing previously and feels more true to the book. So that has me a little bit more optimistic. So hopefully that's a good one. TV comedy, number one. I'm gonna go ahead and lock in The Boys season 4, another show from Amazon, Prime Video. I've been following the show.
Comedy?
I mean, I've only seen season 1 and part of season 2, but it obviously like has comedy elements.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a satire the whole way through. So
It's up to you.
no,
I allow it.
This on anyone.
it's funny as shit. It is funny.
It's a very funny show. I'm not gonna. I mean, I think that's the thing with so many of these shows, though. We talked about the Emmy like categorization. Like a lot of them do have like they're like dramedies. Like they have a lot of like heavy.
I didn't know
stuff.
what Fallout would be considered because like there's no like action adventure TV genre.
Yeah, so that one's probably gonna be a mix as well. But to the point, I've been following the show a couple years now. I think I've really enjoyed it. I am not familiar with the source material whatsoever, but I think the entire cast is really strong. The performances are very good. But on top of it all, standing above it all, is Anthony Starr, who is out of this world and one of the best performances I've ever seen, not just in TV, but period. And it's in a superhero comic book show, which is not, you know, to say that that's not possible. And we all know Heath Ledger and plenty of others, but he's scary in a very real way. And so everything else could be kind of middling, and it's not. I think it's all quite good, but he is worth watching more than anything. So I'm thinking this might. I don't think it's gonna be the last season. I think it's probably gonna be maybe second to last. Hopefully, I think they should be in a good position to start wrapping it up. But I enjoyed Gen V, which came out last year. I think we touched on that briefly earlier, and this is going to be somewhat connected into that as well. So I think it'll be cool to see how that all kind of coalesces. And then that's gonna be that one. Let me go ahead for my TV wild card. I don't want this to get taken, and I already know I'm confident in its quality for the most part, as you all know. But we're gonna do Masters of the Air from Apple TV Plus, kind of their next blockbustery type of show, big budget show, lots of effects, big cast. Austin Butler, Callum Turner in the leads, and Barry Keoghan's in the show as well. I think this is going to be a pretty decent hit for them over at Apple. They need something like this. I think that's just really accessible and has kind of like a kind of brand recognition in terms
Huge
of
dad show incoming.
Huge dad show incoming, but has that recognition in relation to, you know, Band of Brothers and The Pacific, which are, you know, HBO or Max shows. Still a little kind of, it's almost kind of awkward that this is on Apple, but I think people that have seen those other shows are going to enjoy this one, based on what I've seen and kind of heard. And I'm excited to see how people react to it, though. I think it has a lot of promise for Apple. So I'm excited to see him with, especially like Barry and Callum Turner and Austin Butler. I mean, they're all kind of like rising stars in one way or another. So I think it's exciting for them to have a vehicle like this to get a little bit more exposure.
Damn, Johnny, taking my sloppy seconds from the 2023 draft. No, this is on my list. This is on my list too. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but that premieres this coming week with those 2 episodes. So I'm excited to follow along for the full season here. because it's a lot of stuff that I like, a lot of actors that I like. And then you've got the power of Steven Spielberg behind it as a producer. So it's he doesn't just throw his name on anything, brother. Back to me flipping the script back to the movie side because my TV roster is filled out. I'm gonna go horror comedy. I don't think it really matters. I think I have two movies that I'm gonna pick for these. I don't think it really matters which one goes where because one is horror and one is comedy. But let's go with you know what? I'm changing it up. Horror comedy, I'm going The Fall Guy as my comedy.
Nice.
This movie looks, I know Jake, you're in my corner here. This movie
And do what?
Okay. You guys I'm like all in on this. Looks like so
I'm
much
the Goss boss here.
the Goss God. No, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, like two good-looking, charismatic people being charming and throw in some action, some adventure. This looks like an elevated version of honestly the Lost City that came out a couple years ago with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock, because it's the same sort of premise of like the fake thing starts happening in real life. So it's like that, and then also Argyle at the same time that's coming out in a couple weeks, where it's like the authors writing reality or whatever. But this stuntman that has to actually go save the world, or save the girl at least. Throw in Hannah Waddingham, my queen. She's in this.
Winston Duke.
Winston Duke. I mean,
King.
like
Aaron
this
Taylor
is
Johnson.
a summer blockbuster if I've ever seen one. I'm ready to go laugh, to cry, to cheer.
Popcorn.
Popcorn's gonna be love me
Feel
some
alcohol
popcorn.
in you.
What does Tom Cruise say? Love my popcorn. Gotta have my
Love
popcorn.
Gotta have my popcorn. Just like a normal human.
All right, The Fall Guy is taking the comedy spot in my horror comedy pick. So
Beautiful.
Jake,
Last two. I can round out my TV right here. Okay, so I have drama and wild card left. So in drama, I'm going to do Interview with the Vampire season 2.
Ooh.
It comes to us from Roland Jones. The first season is like one of the best first seasons of television I've ever seen. It obviously, is based on the incredibly popular book series from Anne Rice, and it's horror, it's love, it's romance, it's a million different things all at once. And if it's been a little bit, I think, difficult for people to discover just because of it's on AMC, but they did a good cross-platform last October, pushing it on to HBO Max, and I think that sort of got a few more eyes on it. But Jacob Anderson, Sam Reed, Eric Gozien, and Jacob Anderson and Sam Reed are just unbelievable together. Like two of our great performers, and they do tremendous work in the show. So I'm very excited for season 2. They released a clip recently that looked pretty tremendous. So that's my drama. And then my wild card, I'm going to go with something that looks really amazing and I don't really know much about, called Shogun. So it comes to us on Hulu, on FX. Zach, our brave Hulu correspondent.
this looks good.
This was on my list. This was on my list.
It looks amazing. Like it looks like movie level in terms of sort of the cinematic landscape and the vista. But it's a period Japanese epic from everything that I can tell. It comes to us from Rachel Kondo and Justin Marks. And it's Anna Sawai, who is really great in Monarch, the Apple show, and Hiroyuki Sanada, who is a Titanic legend. So yeah, I mean, I don't know much about this. I know it's based on a book which I haven't read, and there was a show from the '80s. There's like a limited series from 1980 that's apparently really excellent. That's the same thing, but yeah, it looks awesome.
Respect. It looks good. It looks very epic. The scale is huge. And FX has quietly been pushing out, maybe not so quietly anymore now that the Bears sweeping, but like they've been putting out quality stuff over there.
A lot of bangers.
And putting helping out beef up the Hulu roster with some of those titles. But my wild card film, I've got a couple on the table here. We've got Long Legs. This is not my pick yet. I'm just talking out loud. Long Legs, Smile 2, Jake.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
And Long Legs. Now we'll get to the honorable mentions. There's a lot of good horror.
Okay. I'm just gonna make a pick then. This might be for clout. Do I want to go for clout? I don't know.
Bro,
Everything you do is for clout, dog.
Embrace the clout.
I feel like
season 3, House of the Dragon season 2, Inside Out 2. Come on, dog.
Those are all quality picks of shows that I love and movies that I love. So I've got enough clout on the roster that I'm not gonna. Those are all genuine like crowd pleasers, but that I also love. This would be one that I'm picking just for the name brand. So I'm not gonna do it. So we're gonna go with Long Legs. I was contemplating Deadpool 3.
Contemplating what?
Deadpool 3.
Well, I'm glad you chose that.
I'm going with Long Legs instead though. Because as we were talking about, when we were talking True Detective, serial killers, dark, gritty crime dramas, like it's my stuff. This is a unsolved serial killer case. Throw in some witchcraft and some occult. Nicolas Cage is a serial killer. Like that sounds pretty gnarly to me. I'm ready for it. I don't know. This may end up being something that's like too out there that I'm gonna not enjoy, but it's a wild card for a reason. So here we are.
I respect it.
One of our great scream queens is a.
Oh yeah.
All right, Johnny, bring us home.
Completely forgot I was still up there, to be honest with you.
If it makes you feel better, you've got the first pick in the bonus actor category. So
do feel slightly better. I have a pick ready to go though. No, this is a good one. Gotta pay, respect, honor it at this time because Curb Your Enthusiasm is coming to an end, season 12. And that's been over like the course of like 20 years or 20 plus years. I think I have not seen every episode, haven't seen every season, but I've seen quite a bit of it, probably about half. And it's just, he's one of the funniest, people in history, I think in Hollywood history anyway, in TV especially, carving his own path. And I think it's just been a very unique show in terms of, how long it's been running and just how he felt pretty much whenever he wanted to do it, he did it. He wasn't tied into any sort of, obligation really. And I think that shows on screen. I think the writing and the acting and just the way it comes together is just unlike any other show. I'm excited to see kind of how he chooses to wrap things up. I think it's gonna be very interesting, obviously. Just because of where we're at in the world right now, I'm gonna be very curious to hear what he has to say in these episodes. But just a legend and a legendary show, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. On Max.
Never watched it, but I've definitely
HBO.
seen clips. Max is just the one to stream, the one to watch.
That's it. That's HBO heritage right there, baby.
You guys are Max pilled. Zaslav's paying the electric bill over here.
Then thank you for tuning in to another episode of Inside the Film Room, brought to you by Max. Now streaming. That's a solid draft across the board, guys. But Johnny, bonus category: actor or actress that you feel is just poised for the best overall 2024.
I know who he's got.
God, this is so tough. I feel like there's a few good options in my mind. I will go with the person I'm choosing though, and it's probably who you thought, Jake. It's gonna be Austin Butler.
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna be Austin Butler because he's had a couple of great years so far, starting with Elvis, just in 2022, which was his big breakout really in film anyway. And then Last year, kind of quiet. Nothing that I can think of outside of Bike Riders, which didn't get a full theatrical release. It just did the studio, or excuse me, the festival circuit. But people are going to be able to see that in theaters this summer. It sounds like. I think based on the reaction, sounds like he's really going to have kind of a spotlight role in that movie. And then, of course, we know with Dune, he managed to get even before Elvis came out. But I'm sure they had some inside kind of murmurings about how good he was in Elvis. He got to be in Dune Part Two, and I think he's really going to be a standout in that movie. Even amongst such a promising cast, such a great cast, I think that he's going to steal some scenes, and in a role that is completely unlike anything else we've seen him in, to date. Really, I think it's going to be cool to see him as a villain. And then Masters of the Air, which I did pick as well on my list. He's one of the kind of co-leads in that show, and again, I picked that show for a reason. I think it's gonna be a nice little hit for Apple, and I think overall has a lot of promise. And so he's dipping into TV, he's dipping into movies, and as of right now, I don't think he has anything else lined up for new projects. So I think it'll be interesting to see this year as well, kind of what he gets attached to and what he chooses to do next. Fingers crossed for Michael Mann collaboration, hopefully, as his next thing. But yeah, I think he's a safe pick, but I think it's a solid choice there.
That was number one on my list. But I shall revert to number two, which is Zendaya. Also,
I had four people on my list, and that's two of them, Butler and Zendaya. So,
I mean, if you're in the Dune cast, like you're considered someone who's eligible for this award. Not I can't go three deep like you did with Dune, Masters of the Air, and Bike Riders, but Dune Part Two for Zendaya, she's going to be even bigger. I know for a lot of casual fans that were like, wait, I thought Zendaya was in this movie and she didn't have as big of a role in Part One. They're going to get everything they're looking for in Part Two. And then Jake had a great pick with Challengers early on. Going to be another hit for her. So, and then Euphoria Season 3, not until 2025. I don't know if we even still consider that being a good thing on her resume at this point, but who knows? Maybe we'll get some like promotional stuff for that towards the end of the year that will just continue on the hype train for her. But hey, I mean, Euphoria got her an Emmy back in the day for season one. So,
and I mentioned this on Twitter a little while back, but it's kind of hard to believe just because I feel like she's always in the spotlight and always in the conversation that the last movie she was in was Spider-Man, which was December 2021. Like that just seems like crazy to me. But yeah, I think she's due for a nice combination here. Kind of like Austin Butler, Bike Riders, a little bit of a smaller, movie. And then you got Dune, and then she has Dune, which is going to be great. And then Challengers, I think that's a great way for her to kind of expand, what she's doing in film. And Guadagnino is just a great collaborator, I think, for her.
And who knows? I know we did our bold predictions, Johnny. Maybe she and Tom Holland get married this year. That's been on a lot of bold prediction lists. So
hey, you can never rule it out, Zach.
Jake, the final pick in the draft.
It feels good to close this out, and I'm going to close this out with an actor that has been on my radar for quite some time, ever since Everybody Wants Some. Richard Linklater's movie.
It's on my list too.
it's Glenn Powell. I mean, what can you say? He's coming off of $100 million grossing rom-com with Anyone But You. It just passed 100 million today, and he is just so charismatic. He's unbelievable, and Everybody Wants Him. He's so good and set it up. I mean, I think his big break was obviously Top Gun Maverick, and he's poised to have a great year with he's going to be in Twisters, which is was very close to my very close to what I was going to choose for my blockbuster pick. It's going to be a tremendous cast. Also, shout out to Brandon Perea, who's slated to be in that as well. Then that's from Lee Isaac Chung, which I'm very curious to see what he does. But he obviously has the Western landscapes down pat. And then, of course, Hitman, which was stolen from us from being able to see late last year, but hopefully
some of us.
Johnny's seen it, brother.
Yeah,
hey,
Johnny's.
Trust me, that was a big reason why I was close to picking him, because Hitman is heat. So
Audrey Arjona's in that too, right?
Hey, is she ever?
Yes.
He's fucking unreal.
They're incredible.
I'm excited. Him and Linklater are doing another collab, and from everything that I've heard from Johnny and other people, Hitman sounds like a damn good time at the movies. So hopefully
Or at home on Netflix, which is where most people are going to watch it, unfortunately.
I'm gonna go see it at the Bay Theater in Los Angeles, California.
They're gonna have The Killer, and is that why they moved it? Because they didn't want The Killer and The Hitman back-to-back years on
I didn't even think about
on
that.
Netflix.
That's honestly probably. But yeah, sounds awesome. Glenn's a hell of an actor. He's a real kind of like classic 80s, 90s movie star in that way. So I'm excited he's coming into the fold, into the A-list. So
hey, I'm the only one on this call that was there day one for anyone but you. Day one in the theater, baby.
Opening night.
Yeah,
Zach led it to victory. I mean, honestly, $100 million.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. If there's one thing about me, it's I'm gonna show up for a theatrical rom-com.
You got to, man. You got to. I will say real quick, Glenn Powell, that is such a good pick because he kind of broke out, I feel like, with Top Gun Maverick, but of course he was in more of a supporting role. And I think with Anyone But You, he's got his leading man chops fired up and ready to go. And then he has these two movies he's leading this year, a big budget movie, and then this Linklater movie, which is a little bit more moderate. But yeah, speaking for someone who saw Hitman, yeah, he's got the goods. I think that's going to be, especially being on Netflix. Kind of hate to see it go to Netflix, but I think I even said this on Twitter already when that deal went through. The exposure he's going to get from that is going to be so substantial, and I think is going to be really great for his career. And I am optimistic.
This man loves Netflix originals. Set it up that I was talking about at the start of the podcast. Netflix original starring Glenn Powell.
And then one other person I want to shout out. So I had a list of 4. 3 of the people are on the board right now. But Nicholas Hoult, I think, is going to have a great year, at least on the back end, because he is starring in Clint Eastwood's next film, Juror Number 2. Which who knows how many. Eastwood is a legendary director. Who knows how many films he's got left, but his latest is going to star Holt and has a great cast. I think he's going to be able to show off his acting chops, in a more high profile movie. And then of course Nosferatu, he's leading that as well, which is going to be pretty substantial. And film Twitter is going to be all over that. So I think especially after The Great getting canceled, I think he's set up for success moving forward, and that's not going to hurt him too much, especially
Johnny,
in terms of films.
But I will not stand for this The Garfield movie Erasure, in which Nicholas
is he in that?
voices John. Thank you very much.
The human, the owner.
Yeah,
okay. Sure.
Nicholas Hoult, Chris Pratt, Hannah Waddingham, and Brett Goldstein are both in that.
I thought Samuel L. Jackson was.
Samuel L. Jackson is Vic, whoever that is.
Okay, so he's just whoever.
This cast is low-key stacked. Cecily Strong, Bowen Yang, Harvey Guyon.
So it's like an SNL movie, basically.
Ving Rhames, if he can go Garfield, the suitcase will blow up.
I didn't mean to erase Garfield the motion picture, but
can we go back and redraft so I can put Garfield on the board?
But I do think Nicholas Hoult he's gonna become much bigger, and he's deserved to be bigger for a while now. And I love The Great, and I think he's got a lot of potential, and he's filming Superman, in the next few months as well. So I think as Lex Luthor, one of the most famous villains, we'll see his reveal, I'm sure. So his name is going to be around, and I'm glad to see it. So I wanted to shout him out as well.
I know, Jake, you had some honorable mentions you wanted to go through. Feel free.
It's gonna be a good year. I mean, we got Alien Romulus, the new Alien movie from Fede Alvarez. It's coming out, and they switched it from straight to streaming to theatrical.
Took it from Hulu.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother.
So we're excited for that. Abigail, the new movie from Radio Silence, that looks like a whole lot of fun. The trailer just came out about the vampire ballerina. Smile 2, which is big on me and Johnny's list. Parker Finn's Smile was fucking badass shit. And,
I was the one who almost picked it. I almost picked it in my wild card. Get out of here.
My bad. Zach's a big Smile guy too. Presence, which seemed to have gotten like a pretty awesome response out of Sundance. Steven Soderbergh's new Ghost Story movie. So some things I'm not sure when they're going to come out, but I think they're slated for 2024. M. Night Shyamalan's new movie Trap with Joshua Hartnett. The Heart Renaissance continues, and I'm not sure if The Shrouds, David Cronenberg's new film, is coming out this year, but we
I
saw
think
it
it
first
should be.
weeks ago,
Yeah.
which looks awesome. And then The Wolfman, Christopher Abbott's the return of Christopher Abbott, freaky Christopher Abbott.
The
I
goat
think
Chris.
should be sometime in a fall release, and then
We love the Invisible Man.
yeah, yeah, I love
Do we?
leaving out.
I
Upgrade is
do.
awesome.
I
think it's
love
good.
the Invisible Man.
And Upgrade is fucking elite.
Upgrade's pretty.
Jake and I, Upgrade was like the third podcast episode we ever did, so
I
we
know.
gotta show
And we saw
respect.
that together. It was
Yeah.
fucking awesome. And this other things that I'm curious about. Obviously, Megalopolis, I think, is like the big question mark.
We had to
Francis-
leave that one on the board because Josh Martin wasn't on this podcast with us.
I mean, I was really close to picking it. I mean, anyone, he's sunk his millions of dollars in wine profits and making it happen. So hopefully there's a good return for the man that constantly bets on himself and most of the time wins out. And I guess I don't know when it's coming out. Or of course, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which looks amazing. The new Westfall, the Planet of the Apes movie, and then Wolves, the Brad Pitt, George Clooney hitman assassin movie. From I think it's out on Apple. I think it should be coming out this year. Austin Abrams is in it too.
Yeah.
And I mean, sight unseen, anything with George Clooney and Brad Pitt, I think I'm curious about. So,
Word.
A lot of good stuff. Anything from you, Johnny?
Yeah, let me just real quick. I won't touch on anything that Jake already mentioned because that's a lot of honorable mentions that I totally agree with, of course. From on the film side, at least, I would say Love Lies Bleeding from Rose Glass. With the reviews and reactions are just coming out of Sundance and they sound pretty nuts, and I'm seeing a lot of cool comparisons. So I'm looking forward to that. It's from A24 as well. Andrea Arnold's Bird is going to be coming out this year, I believe. That could be an awards contender potentially. That's the film that Barry Keoghan had to leave Gladiator for. So that could be very interesting. Anora is coming out as well. I believe that's going to be A24. That is from, the name is escaping me right now, but the guy that is on Twitter and Letterboxd, he did the Red Rocket film
Sean
a
Baker.
few years back. Yes.
yeah, Sean
Thank
Baker.
you. Sean Baker. Sean
Love
Baker's
Red
next
Rocket
film.
and Florida Project.
And this,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So he's very talented. I'm excited to see what he does next. And that is starring Madison.
Mikey Madison from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And Scream.
Oh, yeah, Scream.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so she's fire. I'm excited to see her like in a leading role.
Did you
Sounds
just
like
say she's fire? In which she gets flamed by a torch by a
Twice.
flamethrower twice?
Twice. I mean,
Will
that was
that
not
happen in
that
this
was not a
movie?
pun. That was not intended. But yeah, and then there's that animated like anime Lord of the Rings film that's coming out later this year. That could be interesting. Yeah, so Kenji Kamiyama, that should be interesting. Ethan Cohen is doing his own thing, Drive Away Dolls, which comes out in just the next couple months, I believe. And there's these Sundance movies that are coming out right now, like Handling the Undead, and just a bunch of other films. I know Jesse Eisenberg has a new film that he directed with Kieran Culkin that should be pretty interesting. So there's a lot of good movies coming out this year. I mean, there's plenty, of course, that we probably don't even know about yet, or kind of have to wait and see about the release date. But I'm optimistic that this year is going to be a great one. Last year is kind of set a high bar, and even the last couple of years, I think, have been pretty extraordinary. So I'm excited.
All right, let me bring it home with some of my own here. A lot of the stuff you guys have touched on, plus more. A Quiet Place Day One. That's more of like a curiosity, but I love the first movie. Second one was still good. This is not John Krasinski, but a prequel, another look at the origins of this outbreak. I know I said it jokingly, but still curious about Deadpool 3. You've got Hugh Jackman in there as Wolverine. Logan is fantastic. This character is great. Maybe Taylor Swift's in it. Who knows? you mentioned some of the horror ones. Spaceman. We love to see the Sandman, Adam Sandler, in a serious role. That looks very good. I know Johnny, the spider is keeping you away, but what else? I had a couple that I had on my list that were not necessarily 2024, so I didn't bring up. Holland, Michigan, which is Mimi Cave. She did the movie Fresh back in 2021, which was like a great fun time. That's got it's like a murder mystery sort of thing with Nicole Kidman, Gael Garcia Bernal, Matthew McFadden, our Succession king, Rachel Sennett's in there as well. So maybe that'll come out this year, hopefully. We Live in Time, which is Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh in a romance. And then on the TV front, I didn't pick Abbott Elementary season 3, but that's coming back in a couple weeks here. Another just great network comedy on ABC. Kite Man, Hell Yeah. It's Harley Quinn spinoff, Johnny. I know we've watched that Harley Quinn show together, but True Detective, maybe I'm going to go all in on that after this first season. Survivor seasons 46 and 47. Yes, I'm still watching. Yes, it's still elite. The Acolyte, that's the Survivor, or not. Now my head's on Survivor, the Star Wars show that's like about the Sith. That's supposed to be like a prequel. It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be like different. We've seen success with Andor. Maybe the Acolyte can replicate that. And then maybe it happens this year. They just went into production, Shrinking season 2, big hit of last year. Didn't want to pick it and have it not make the cut this year, but season 1 had like a 9-month start to finish process, so maybe we can get that late this year. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's gonna be great for TV and film. This is a lot of fun as always. I love the competitive aspect instead of just talking through a list of stuff we're excited about, but adding some fun to it. So we'll be putting these lists online. Let's run through them real quick one last time. I've got for TV, I've got The Bear season 3, Hacks season 3, House of the Dragon season 2, The Penguin, and 3 Body Problem. Movies, I've got Inside Out 2, Blitz, The Fall Guy, Mickey 17, and Longlegs, with Zendaya as my actress of the year. Jake, give us your roster.
The Vince Staples Show, Mr. and Miss Smith, Fallout, Interview with the Vampire season 2, and Shogun. And in film, I have Gladiator 2, Challengers, Maxine, The Bike Riders, and I Saw the TV Glow, with my bonus actor being Glenn Powell.
What a great table. Look at this. It's going to be interesting competition, I think, online. For my slate TV, I have The Boys season 4, Curb Your Enthusiasm season 12, final season, The Sympathizer, Dune, Prophecy, and Masters of the Air. On the film side, I have Dune Part 2, Joker Folie à Deux, Nosferatu, Kinds of Kindness, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. My bonus actor is Austin Butler.
These are all good lists. I would not be unhappy being told to, like, I have to watch all these shows or all these movies. This is good stuff, guys. But we'll be putting all these online, on social. Make sure to weigh in. Let us know who won the draft, who's going to have the best year. And then we'll revisit it towards the end of the year to see who actually won it. What shows, what movies actually came out, what was a flop, what was great. But thank you for listening. Another great episode in the books. Always fun to have you come back, Jake. Appreciate you joining us for this episode today.
Of course. Always happy to come.
Johnny, take us to the outro, my guy.
Yeah, Jake, always great to see you, man. Always great to have you on the show. I'll always look forward to these. Let's see. Follow on Twitter, Instagram, like us on Facebook. Make sure you see and vote on this when it does go up there. And subscribe on YouTube as well. You can find those pages at Inside Film Room.
And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeart, YouTube. Anywhere you can find a podcast, we are there. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter as well, so you can get all the latest episodes, the giveaways, the reviews from the website, the interviews, all that stuff sent straight to your inbox. And be sure to come back next week. Like Johnny mentioned, we will be seeing Dune in IMAX this week, talking about the re-release, as well as diving into the series premiere of Masters of the Air. We'll see you next time.